At the time I access to support, I was feeling extremely low. I was recovering from a serious illness, and I recognised that I needed help from somewhere, but I didn't really know how to go about getting that. But then I was given the leaflets that talked about wellbeing service, and then I got in contact, and that's when they offered me initially group sessions, and then from there to one-to-one sessions. Because I wanted to find, at the time I wanted to find a cure, that was the truth. I just felt awful at the time. I was so anxious, and that I just wanted to find a cure. I wanted to get back to who I'd been before. And so at that time I was quite desperate to find somebody that I thought I would go somewhere, they'd give me some magic potion and I'd feel better. Therapy was a lot about opening up and talking. So it was about explaining what happened to me to somebody that wasn't a friend or a relative, which I hadn't done. So there was somebody that wasn't judgmental at all. So that really helped. So, and it was quite nice to be able to do that and to do it in a relaxing environment as well. So, but initially when you start talking about things, people were they don't offer you an instant solution, which is what I was looking for, but I had to learn to be patient. I had to sort of, but the biggest thing was I had to realise that it wasn't going to happen overnight, within a week. It was going to take a good period of time, and whatever sessions I was offered, I would have to go to. You know, I wanted to get better. Well, not get better, I wanted to learn how to cope with it, deal with it. So that's what I did. I was anxious about going to social events, going out, and I would always think that everybody was looking at me, and I felt dreadful, and I ended up having to say, I don't want to go. I don't want to do these things, which I hated, because I enjoyed going out doing things, going to the cinema, going to the pub, doing whatever everybody else does. I was stopping myself from doing these things, and so because every time I got into that environment, I just panicked, and I would just, so I think, no, I don't want to be like that, so I won't go. But then what I realised is breaking things down, I could, and this is what I learned in CBT, was she said to me, when you go, just say, if you're going with a friend, you're going, you know, whoever, just explain to them that you don't feel great, but just go along for a short period of time. Say to yourself, after half an hour, right, you've done it, you can go now. Don't beat yourself up about it, that's the thing, don't beat yourself up. So you can actually go away from it, and you actually go away from it and thinking, I did it, I went there. But what you find is, because you allow yourself that breathing space, you actually get there, and before you know it, half an hour has gone by, 3/4 of an hour, and an hour. So, but what I do was, purposefully, I wouldn't push the boundaries too far. I would think, right, I will, after a short period of time, I'll just say, I'm not feeling brilliant, but I'd go home, sort of thing. But each time things come up after that, I go along, use the same technique, and you build up an ability to be able to go through that, and in the end you don't make those excuses anymore, and that you carry on. But I'd still do it today, to be honest. If I'm not feeling brilliant in that, I tell you what it is, it's not feeling guilty, isn't it? We all do it, don't we? We all feel guilty, we all feel like we're letting ourselves down, we're letting other people down. Well, why should you, you know? So that's what I did. During a CBT session, I would I was shown how to write down my thought processes when I was feeling really bad. You know, how I was feeling anxious, and by writing down how I was literally feeling at that moment in time, and then working my way through a sheet saying how how I physically felt. Was I sitting there shaking and that? How my mental thought process was working at the time. I was, how can I say? Can't think of the word. I was blowing everything out of proportion. Really struggling to make sense of it all. But by writing down how I felt, at the start of the sheet, you write down how bad you're feeling. You rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. So if I was feeling really bad, I will be rating it up there at an 8 out of 10, something like that. And then at the end of the sheet, where you've gone through rationalising how you feel, your physical feelings and your thought process, you re-rate it at the end. And when you re-rate it, and when you think, actually, what am I imagining? You re-rate it and you realise that you don't rate so high on that scale of anxiety. And that's what I learned with CBT, to take one day at a time, and to look back and to realise that not every day was bad. What I've learned with my experience, I can now put to use with others, because before this happens, I had no idea how anxieties could affect people. I'd heard of the word anxiousness, but I never realised what it actually did to you. But now I do, I'm able to use the techniques in helping others. If it just means sitting down with people for a few minutes over a cup of tea and just talking to them and saying, there is hope, you can learn to live with this. But the one thing you have to have is patience. And you have to sort of trust in your own instincts as well sometimes. And you have to be willing to open up as well.